Hi everyone, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, good morning.
Good
So,
morning.
good morning. So we can start the session in 2 minutes. I'm waiting for some more participants. Let's wait, then we can start.
Hello, sir.
Yes, Ranit. Ranit or Ranit, what's your name?
My name is Ronit, sir.
Ronit. Ronit
Yes,
Basu
Yes, sir.
from Calcutta.
Yes, sir.
Oh, okay.
Yes, sir. I'm just asking that Sunday there is showing no session on the portal. Will there
Yeah,
still
actually the backend team has cancelled it because there was some activity going on. So that's the reason it could not happen on Sunday. Now that has been finished, the activity regarding the portal and all that has been finished. So we will have the session. We will not have any cancellation now. So actually today I'm taking it in the morning because I will be traveling. I will be traveling to Delhi back. So that's the reason I cannot take it at night. But from tomorrow onwards, again, it will be on our same timings.
Oh, okay, sir.
That's the reason I asked admin team to check with you guys. If you were available, then I have arranged this session in the morning. Otherwise, I could have cancelled it. But for the last weekend, it was just because of some activity going on. There was some issues. So the classes got cancelled for Sunday. So we can,
Sunday it will be at night again.
what?
Tomorrow it will be at the night again.
Yeah, tomorrow it will be at 9 p.m. It will be at night.
Okay.
I'm planning to change the timing by 8 p.m. But let's see, because my office shifts has been okay now. They have modified it, so there is no session on Saturday, Sunday from my office. So in case if everything will be feasible, then I will again make it at 8 p.m.
Okay.
Okay. Otherwise, 9 p.m. would be the session timing for tomorrow.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. So we can start the session now. Just let me see my screen. I hope is it visible?
Yes, sir. It is visible.
AWS console. I guess they have blocked my account as well because I have not paid them the bill. Let me check if it is working or not. I have got the bill of 8 rupees. So I just forget to pay it. It is working. Okay, good. It got automatically deducted means. So we can start the session now. Just let me open the Word. So are you all guys at home or you are in office?
Home, sir.
At home.
Office.
At home. Office. So means most of you don't have the holiday on Saturday, Sunday, right?
Yes.
So is
Right.
it 6 days working or 5 days? What criteria you have?
6 days, sir.
6
All
days.
day.
Oh, that's terrible. I used to do the 6 days. It was way back in 6 years ago. But if someone will ask me to do the 6 days of job right now, then I will leave it because I have been habitual for 5 days now. So just let me know if you have any doubt from the previous session, anything you can ask. So in this July month, we will cover our AWS session. July has been started now. So we will be somehow quicker now. We will be in speed from the next week onwards. The target I will complete by tomorrow, whatever topics we were about to complete. Then because we have to start Terraform as well. So Terraform, we will start in the first week of August. And it's hardly the matter of 3 to 4 classes, then we will be done. So interview preparation has to be done, then we are done with our session. So let's start. If you don't have any doubt, then we can start it. So I have to discuss about EBS today plus auto scaling group. These two practicals I have to cover in a good note. So let's start it. So let's start with the auto scaling group first because it's pending since last two classes. So I have already given you the overview of it. Is my voice okay? Is it clear or it's cracking in between?
Clear.
It's clear. Okay, good. See. So we had a theoretical discussion about auto scaling group, ASG. So what is auto scaling group? Let me give you the overview again. I have given it in the next session, in the last session as well. So ASG means if you are running any EC2 instance, if you have any EC2 instance, and on that EC2 instance, if you are running any workload, because we use the EC2 in order to run our server workloads. So as a workload, let's take an example that you are running one of the web server. The website is running on that EC2 instance, and that web server, that workload is external facing. External facing in the sense it is accessed by the general public because that's a website. So that website is being accessed by the general public. It means from external sources, anyone from the internet, they can access the web server and they can use the website. So generally what we do, we go to the browser and we type the URL. Whatever is the URL of the website, we type it and we access it. But in the backend, as we know, the IP address works. That's the concept of DNS. That's a different thing. Now, because that's an external facing web server, so it means anytime the traffic can get increased, means the number of users who are accessing the website, that number can get increased, and someday it can get decreased as well. So we have taken an example of Flipkart and Amazon that during their big billion sales, their user count may get increased. After the end of the big billion sales, their user count may get decrease. So we have taken that example. So at any point of time, the load on the server may get increase or it may get decrease. That's the possibility. Now, I have a EC2 instance. Every EC2 instance will have some default hardware configuration. If you remember, whenever we create the EC2 instance, we take one of the series of the EC2. Just to show you, just to make you fresh. So whenever we create the EC2 instance, you might have noticed that there is a hardware roadblock by default. Just like here, see, we need to select the instance type. And this instance type is our hardware configuration in the backend. If we will go with the T2.micro, then we will have 1 CPU, 1 GB RAM, and this is going to be the price. So every EC2 instance will have a default hardware configuration. And as we know, basis on the hardware configuration, our capacity will be decided. If I have i3 laptop, which has 8 GB RAM, and one of my friend have i7 laptop with 16 GB of RAM. So which one will be faster? The i7, of course, because it has got good configuration. It has i7 CPU plus 16 GB of RAM. So it will be faster as compared to this one. It means it would be able to serve the load in a good manner. So same thing applies here in EC2. We will have the default hardware configuration that is divided in the series, T series, S series, F series. So that is divided in the series, and according to the workload, we can pick any of the hardware configuration and we can create our EC2. We will have to pay to the AWS accordingly, but that's okay. We can take the highest configuration EC2. Suppose the highest configuration EC2 here is, let's check, Which one is the highest? So see, this one is the highest one. Here we will get 64 GB of RAM. It's C5A, 8 times extra large. See, here we will get 2 cores of CPU. The network speed will be 5 gigabit. So this one is the, oh, this is not the highest one. Yeah, this one. This one is the highest one. C5A, 8 times extra large. And here we will get 32 cores of the CPU. And it supports 64-bit as well. The RAM will be 64 GB. The network speed will be this one. Then this one is more higher than this capacity. So what we can do, according to our workload, we can pick any of the hardware configuration. We can pick any of the instance type. But again, every hardware has some limitation. If suppose I pick this one, if I go with this one, where I will get around, what is happening with this portal? Yeah. If I will pick this one, C5A 16 times extra large, then I will get around 64 GB of RAM, 128 GB of RAM and 64 cores of processor. So this one is a good in terms of speed, in terms of hardware. But again, every hardware will have some limitation. If I am going with the 96 GB of RAM, and if I go with the 62 cores of CPU, again, it will have some maximum capacity. Suppose this hardware can handle the load of say for 25,000 users at a time. Suppose. So this hardware can only handle the load of 25,000 users at a time. It means if my load get increased by more than 25,000, then this hardware will not be able to handle it. So it means every hardware will have some capacity. It will have some maximum load taken capacity. So whatever configuration I will pick, it will have one of the dead end. Just like here, I have just taken an estimate that if I will go with this hardware, then it can handle maximum 25,000 users at the same time. But if it is more than that, then what will happen? My hardware will not be able to handle it. And that is called downtime scenario. The server down, server crash, because the load is more than the expected. If it is less than 25, that's okay. But if it is more than 25, then this will not work. So during the real-time capacity, if the load is getting increased, if the load is coming more than the expected number, so in order to handle it, what we need to do, we will have to increase the hardware. That's what we will have to do. We will have to increase the hardware. But in order to increase the hardware, that's not possible. If we are on cloud, that's okay. We can take the maximum configuration. But if we have taken the maximum EC2 instance capacity, then we cannot go more than that. And in the on-premises, that's not possible on the real time. We will have to purchase the physical hardwares. We will have to set them up. We will have to get the approvals from the finance. We will have to order it. Once it will come, we will install the operating system. We will install the services. It has to be in the network. So it's not a real-time task. Even in the cloud also, we cannot do it because we have taken the maximum capacity. Suppose we are already running the maximum EC2 instance capacity, the maximum one, it is loading more, see. So if we are already running the maximum capacity, then we cannot go more than that. So ultimately, it is going to impact my business. It is going to impact my revenue. Users will not be able to access the website. Their purpose will not be fulfilled. And the next time they will not come to my site. They will say, what a bad site it is. They will never come to me. So that's a serious business loss. So what happens to tackle this kind of scenario? In every cloud, they have introduced the concept of auto scaling. It is in every cloud, whatever, Rackspace, Alibaba, Google Cloud, Azure, AWS, Oracle, whatever you will take, they have this concept, which is called auto scaling. So in the auto scaling, what happens? Scaling means to increase or decrease capacity. That's the meaning of scaling. If we talk about the scaling term only, so scaling means to increase or to decrease as per the requirement. It is also known as elastic. Scaling and elastic both are same. Elastic means, what is the nature of elastic? Elastic is just a English word you can say, and it has one of the product that can be stretched. Elastic means you can stretch it, you can increase the size, and you can reduce the size as well. So that's elastic. So the synonym of elastic is scaling. So what does this mean? It means if the load on the server is high, then you can increase the capacity. If the load on the server is less, then you can decrease the capacity. That's the meaning of scaling. And this concept is called scalability. To do the scaling or to do the elastic, that concept is called scalability. If I am increasing the size of my current hardware, what I am doing the scalability with my hardware. So scalability means the process through which you will increase or decrease the capacity. Scaling is a term which means increase and decrement. Elastic is also same. So every cloud have the feature which is called auto scaling. Auto scaling means we can set the rules. We can define the rules. Basis on the rule, if my server capacity, if the load on my server is getting increased, then it will increase the capacity. If the load gets decreased, then it will decrease the capacity. So in AWS, we have auto scaling group, ASG. The name of that concept is ASG. And in Azure, it is VMSS, virtual machine scale set. So what happens when we talk about auto scaling group? In the auto scaling group, we define the rules that my current situation is this one. If the load is more than that, suppose we have the parameters actually. We can define the parameter on the basis of CPU. We can define the parameter on the basis of schedule. So if we have defined that if my load on the CPU is more than 80% for another 10 minutes, then it will automatically increase the copies. It will automatically increase the copies of the current EC2 instance. Means it will create the replicas. That's called replica. Replica means duplicate. The exact same copy will be created as per the auto scaling rule. Because as I told you, if we have already taken the maximum capacity of the hardware, then we cannot get it increase. If I already using the maximum capacity on my AWS EC2 instance, then I cannot increase the configuration. So what happens in the real production scenario? It will create the replica. Replica means as per the rule defines, if the load on my current EC2 is getting increased, then it will create copies. It will create the duplicate server copies of the same instance. How much it will create? So it will depend upon our rule. If we have decided that maximum it can create 10 copies only, then only 10 copies will be created. So that rule we have to define. If we want that whatever is the maximum load, if the maximum load gets to the particular threshold, then only create 10 copies, then only 20 copies will be created. So that rule we have to define. It will not work automatically. What it will do, it will basis on that rule, it will create the copies automatically. But the maximum threshold we will have to define. We need to mention what can be the maximum number of duplicacies, what can be the maximum number of replicas. So I think I have also told you the type of auto scaling group scalability. That's called scale out and scale in. So when we talk about scale out means increase the number of EC2 instances. If there is load on my current EC2, then increase it, create the multiple copies. That's called scale out, add EC2s. Scale in means if the load is decreased, then I don't want to use the multiple EC2 now because I will have to pay to the AWS. So if the load is not that much, then decrease the size. reduce the EC2, reduce the copies of the EC2 instance. So that's called scale out, means addition. Scale in means reduction. So these two concept works in the auto scaling group, add or reduce, basis on the rule that we will define. When there was no cloud in the market, when the cloud was not present in the market, or cloud was new, it was very new, so industry was not using it. When there was the era of virtualization, when the virtualization was very much famous across the industry, when there was the era of VMware, Hyper-V, that time what used to happen, they also had the scalability. Because see, the websites, the application, it's not new thing in the market. It's prevailing since a long ago. 10 years back, we were using the Amazon. Flipkart was also there. Facebook got introduced in 2007, I guess. YouTube was invented in 2008 or 9 something. So these kind of things are very old. So when the cloud was not very much famous that time, there used to be the virtualization concept, and in the virtualization also there used to be scalability, but that was not auto scalability. It was not like this. How it used to work in the virtualization, when we talk about the virtualization scalability, so we will have to do the scalability manually. There was the manual function, and in the manual function we could not create the copies of the server that time. Here what is happening, if the load is increasing, then the copies of the server will be created. But in the virtualization scenario, these kind of concept was not available. So there used to be the manual concept. In the manual concept, what used to happen, we need to do the vertical scaling. There used to be vertical scaling. Vertical scaling means increase the current configuration of the system. Just like as I told you, if I am using this capacity of hardware, if I have this capacity, and if my load is more than this, then what I can do through virtualization, if I have the hardware available, if I have free hardware available, then I can increase this capacity. If I need addition 4 GB of RAM, then I can do it. If I need addition of 8 cores of CPU, then I can do it if I have the hardware available. So that's called vertical scaling. So in virtualization, there used to be vertical scaling. Means when we talk about the private cloud, virtualization is an example of private cloud. So when we talk about the private cloud, so in private cloud, there is no auto scaling basis on the rule. There is a vertical scaling that we will have to do manually. If we have the spare hardware capacity, we can do it. If we don't have the spare hardware capacity, we cannot go with that. That is the limitation. But in cloud, when we talk about the public cloud means our AWS, Azure, GCP, these are the public cloud. So in public cloud, we have the auto capacity, auto scaling. Means basis on the rule, it will automatically create the copies of the server, and it will automatically decrease it when there is no load. So that is called horizontal scaling. So it's exists in public cloud only. So vertical scaling was the concept of private cloud. It was in virtualization. Auto scaling, it's the concept of public cloud, and it is the part of horizontal scaling. So this scale out and scale in, these two types comes under the horizontal scaling. And if you go with any kind of picture in the Google, when we talk about the horizontal and vertical, see, here you can see horizontal means the straight line, the 180-degree angle of the line. So it means, suppose this is my, let me open the paint. Suppose I have one of the EC2, whatever capacity it has, whatever hardware it has, if the load is increasing, and if I have done the horizontal scaling, horizontal means in 180-degree angle, it means it will add copies of the server, the exact copy of the servers, and that will be in 180-degree. See the straight line. So it will add the copies of the server in the same manner, in the same rhythm. But
Sir?
when we talk about, yes.
Sorry to interrupt. Is the session is recording?
Yeah, yes, it's being recorded.
Okay, sir.
Okay. We can see the recording icon. Can you all see?
I don't see. Sir.
Yes. Yes, sir.
It's being recorded actually.
Yes, sir.
They have enabled the recording from the back end, so I don't need to enable it again. Even I am
Okay.
not getting it. Okay. So it's being recorded.
Okay,
Even
sir,
I
thank
can
you.
also see, yeah, recording to the cloud. Now see. So horizontal means increase the number of counts in the horizontal order. When we talk about the vertical means the straight line. It means we have only a single EC2, and whatever is the current configuration, what we are doing, we are adding the capacity. We are adding the RAM, we are adding more CPU cores. So that we are doing in the vertical order, in the straight order. So we have the same exact EC2 and we are just increasing the capacity. That's called vertical scaling. But when we have the EC2 instance and we are creating the copies in the horizontal manner, that's the horizontal scaling concept. So this will help you to remember it. Horizontal means the straight line, vertical means the standing line. That's it. So vertical scaling is the concept of private cloud that works in the virtualization, whatever virtualization you use. Even in the Azure, they have given this two concept. They have the horizontal as well and they have the vertical as well. In Azure, if you want to increase the capacity, if you want to increase the RAM and the CPU as per the rule, as per the scaling rule, then you can go with that as well, and you can go with the auto scaling as well. But in AWS, if you want to increase the capacity, that you can do, you will have to resize, you will have to change the T levels, this instance type, this one. But that will not happen on the real-time basis. You will have to restart the EC2. You can change this site. But in Azure, you can define the rule for the vertical scaling as well. That if my CPU load is this much, then please increase my cores of CPU. But the limitation here is if you have taken the maximum capacity of instance, if you have taken, suppose the maximum one, then you cannot do this. Now it will not get stretched. You cannot increase the capacity now. So in the real production, there will be auto scaling. So basis on the rule, it will automatically increase and decrease the copies. That will be there. So in interview, they can ask you, what is the difference between horizontal scaling and vertical scaling? So you will be ready. You will have to be ready with that. I will add it in the notes. And this horizontal scaling comes under the public cloud. And horizontal scaling have two types, scale out and scale in. Scale out means addition of EC2. Scale in means decrease the numbers of EC2. So you should know these things. Now let's go to the portal. Let's see how does it work. So we are in our AWS portal. In order to create the auto scaling group, one more thing, that's also one of the interview question. Interviewer can ask you, when we create the auto scaling group, suppose currently I have 5 EC2. I have 5 EC2 in the auto scaling group. These EC2s are set as per the rule. So these all EC2s are the part of load management. If in future I have another 2 EC2s that I want to add in this group, because ASG is a group. It's like a auto scaling group. Here we need to add the EC2s. When we will create the ASG, it is going to create one of the group. A group will be created. Group means like a container. It's like a folder. So one of the container will be created. Inside that container, we will put our EC2s. If we have 5 different EC2 that we want to manage for the scalability, because it's external facing, so load can come anytime on these 5 EC2s. So if we have that kind of concept, then we will add these 5 EC2s in the ASG. But that is only possible during the creation. When we create the ASG group, so whatever EC2 we want to add inside it, we can only do it that time. If in future I have another 2 EC2 instance that I want to add in the ASG group, that is not possible. It is only possible when you create the ASG. In future, if you want to add any other EC2, that is not possible. You will have to either create a new auto scaling group, or you will have to delete this one and you will have to create a new group again where you can add 5 plus 2 during the creation. But after creation, you can never add any EC2 instance in the existing auto scaling group. Same concept applies in the Azure as well. It is the same concept of scaling. So let's see how does it work. So we are on the portal. Here, what we need to do, we need to go to the EC2 in order to do this practical, because that's the part of EC2. So we will go to the EC2. If I will go to my instance, then you can see I don't have any instance running. So in order to create the auto scaling group, if you will scroll it down on the left side, then you can see there is a concept. See, there is an option, auto scaling. And in the auto scaling, you can see there is an option, auto scaling groups, ASG. You just need to click here. Here you can see the description. See, there will be one of the group. A group will be created that's called auto scaling group. Inside that group, you will have the EC2 instances. Your EC2 will work under this group. So here we have 2 things, the minimum capacity, the desired capacity, and the maximum capacity. What is the minimum? Minimum means when the load is decreased. Suppose, let me give you one of the example. You have one of the server running. Server means your EC2. You have one of the server, and it can handle the load of suppose 2000 user at a same time. This is the simple example that I am giving you. I have a server, it can handle the load of 2000 users at the same time. I have set up a rule that if the load on my current EC2 is more than 80%, suppose if the CPU load, if the load on this server CPU is more than 80%, then please add the maximum to maximum, whatever load we will have, whatever the maximum to maximum, please add 10 number of copies. Maximum. There are 3 things: minimum, desired, and maximum. When we will do the practical, we will have to define these 3 things: maximum, minimum, and desired. What is minimum? See, this one is my maximum capacity. I have defined in the rule that whatever is the load, please add it only 10 copies, because I will have to pay. If I will make it unlimited, suppose I am saying unlimited, and if my load is very, very high, and suppose it has created 1000 copies, suppose maximum 1000 copies got created basis on my load. Suppose the traffic is in billion, and I'm the small organization, the traffic is in billion. Maybe that's not a legitimate traffic. That can be the fake traffic as well. Nowadays, we have the bot facility. In hacking world, we have bot, B-O-T. We have bots facility. Bot means fake traffic. Hacker can launch fake number of traffic to increase the visibility of my site. You might have heard in the YouTube as well, in order to increase their views count, there are some YouTubers who are using the bot. With the bot, some fake viewers will be generated. That will not be legitimate, that will be fake. So earlier, in order to increase the view count, in order to increase the subscribers, YouTubers used to do this. But Facebook got to know about this one. So Facebook has created the algorithm, and nowadays this bot does not work on the Facebook. But if I am running a small to medium sized company, I don't have that much money to secure my environment. So there can be chances that any hacker may launch the bot, and because of that bot, the count of the users, the fake count of the users will be generated, and basis on the fake count, if I have set up the rule in the EC2 that maximum it can be unlimited. So if there are billions of traffic, so it will create the copies accordingly basis on the load. And if it will create a multiple copies, then I will have to pay accordingly. But I am a middle businessman, suppose I don't have that capacity. So how will I pay? They will not give me any kind of concession. I will have to pay the money. So that's the reason we have to define the maximum capacity. That's the reason maximum capacity is given. That whatever is the load, how much maximum you want to keep it. So you will have to define one of the number here. If you will keep it unlimited, there is a risk. If any bot attacks happens, then automatically the traffic will increase on the current server and your copies will be created. But maybe you will not be able to pay that money. So you will have to face the consequences. Understood? Everyone understood what I want to convey?
Yes, sir.
Now, that's the reason the maximum limit has to be decided. Suppose the maximum I have given 10. That whatever is the number of load, it can go up to 10. Now there is one desired capacity. Desired means currently what I want. That is the desired. Let's take an example. Suppose my desire is I want a BMW 7 Series. That's my desire. I need a BMW 7 Series. I need a bungalow. That's my desire. So desire means what I want. So in technical thing, what is the meaning of desired? Desired capacity means what you want currently. What you want currently means I have one of EC2 instance and we know that one is not sufficient. Because of the failover, at least we should have two. That if one is down, then another one should be available. At least we should have two servers. Because that's a public facing server. If one is down due to any reason, suppose there is no load. Load is not there. Load is only 1 user, 2 user per day. But because of the failover, because of the availability, we should have minimum 2. Because if one is down, then nothing will work. So what is my desire as per the current situation? I want that I should have minimum 3 copies of the server. Whether there is any load or not, I should have 3 copies of the server as per the current scenario. That is my desired capacity. Then comes the minimum capacity. Minimum means I have created 3 copies. That's good. It can go up to 10. That's also good. But I am paying for 3 copies. Now, if I will define the rule that if there is nothing, if there is no load on my 3 servers, I have currently 3 servers. That was my desire. That's the reason 3 server got created. 3 copies got created of the same EC2. But if there is no load on these 3 servers for at least 15 minutes, if there is no load on these 3 servers for at least 15 minutes, then please reduce the size and keep it to minimum. Reduce the size. Suppose I have decided 5. Currently, I have 5 copies of the same EC2. If there is no load for at least 15 minutes on my 5 servers, then please reduce the numbers, because I'm paying for 5, but there is no load. That was my desire only, but it is not working because there is no load. So I don't need it now. So minimum to minimum, just decrease the size and make it 2 only, because I need 2 at least. Just for failover, I need 2. Either I can make it 1 as well, but in the production, it will be 2 minimum. Because if 1 is down, then another one should be readily available. So that's called minimum capacity. Like if there is no load, then as per the rule, what will be the cooldown period? Cooldown means if there is no load on the desired capacity, then how much will be the cooldown period? Cooldown means reduce, just relax. So I don't want to pay for 5 now. Just make it minimum, reduce the capacity and bring it to 2. So by default, it will be 5. Basis on the load max to max, I have given the number 10, that it can create 10 copies only. And if there is no load as per the cooldown period, then it can be reduced by 2. That's something I have decided. So these 3 capacities will be here. Now understood? Understood?
Yes, sir.
So see, minimum I had 1, desired 2, and maximum 4. So the limit of the desired capacity was 2. Minimum to minimum, it can go reduced by 1, and maximum here in this picture, the capacity was 4. 4 copies can be created. That is the meaning of this diagram. So here are the description. You can read it. What are the benefits? What is this? What is that? You can read it. We will discuss about this CloudWatch in the monitoring section. This is very important. It is used in AWS monitoring environment, the CloudWatch. What it will do, it will generate the alarms. When there is a load, you can also get the alarm, means you can get the notification on your company email ID as well, so that you will be notified that number of cores is getting increased. So this practical we will also do during our monitoring section, not now. So let's see how to do it. So we are in the auto scaling option. See, we are in the auto scaling group option. This is the dashboard. What we need to do, we need to click here, create auto scaling group. Just click here. What is the battery status? 97. Yeah, just click here. Then it is saying, just define the things. So just give a name of your auto scaling group, because that's a group. So we will have to give any name. Suppose I am just giving test ASG. In company, it will be like UAT group, prod 001 group. If it is for a particular department, then there will be department name LB001 group. So the name will be given to you as per the company. Here I am giving test ASG, test auto scaling group. Now we have to define a template. Template means rule. You can say rule. So in order to define the template, I don't have any, because I have never created this. So it's blank. See, it's blank. So what we need to do, we need to create a launch template. Once we will create it, we can use the same template in order to create another groups as well. So let's create it. So let's click on create a launch template. So once we will click on it, it is saying just give the name of your template as well, because in future, if you want to use the same template to create another ASG, that you can leverage, you can use it. So the name I'm giving is template number 1, T1. Version description, like why you are creating this template, just type anything about it. So it's up to you. If you want to type, you can. Suppose I am typing, we will use it for testing. In company, there will be description like why we are creating this template, so that they can identify. Then tax, wax, I am not giving any tax. Now, what operating system you want to use? Because it will create the copies of the server. So what OS you want to use on those servers, on those EC2? So if you have any AMI we had discussed in the last session, if you remember, the custom copy, the custom image. If you have that, you can also pick it. Basis on that image, it will create the copies. But if you don't want to use it, then you can go to the marketplace and you can pick any of the image. So suppose I am using here Linux, just to see the practical, you can use any of the image. I am using Amazon Linux. Then you will have to decide the architecture, the image version, what image you want to use. See, select the image, which version of image you want to use. Then instance type. Instance type means the T2 micro, T2 nano, whatever you want to use, you can select it. If you don't want to select it by default, if you don't want to select this one, if you want that when I will create the EC2 instance, then automatically it will get created. I will select it, means I will select it during my EC2 instance creation. Then you can leave it, don't include in the template. If you want that by default, it should pick for every EC2 instance, it should pick this one, T2.micro, then you can select it here as well. So I am selecting here so that it will set as a by default configuration that whenever I will create my EC2, it is going to use this same instance. Then key pair you need to decide. So let's create a key pair in order to log in into the server. So I am using ASG pair. The name I am giving is ASG pair. So create, it has been downloaded. Now scroll down. Then what network you want to use? So if you want to use any network as a basic configuration, as a default configuration, then you can create that. If you don't want to use it, that during the creation of the EC2, I will add it manually, then you can leave it. But if you want, you can create it as well. Just like if I want, I will create a new subnet. So it's up to you whether you want to do it or not. In company, it will be decided by the organization whether they want to use it or not. So that's the company's choice. Just let's leave it as it is. Otherwise, we will do it during the creation. Storage volume, again, if you want to add, by default, it will add 8 GB of storage because it's Linux. So in Linux, it is going to add a root volume of 8 GB. If you want to add more, you can, otherwise you can skip it as well. Tags, if you want to add for identification, you can, otherwise skip. In advanced detail, if you want to do any default modification, that with every creation, it will take the default setting, you can, otherwise you can skip it. So I am not adding anything. I will just create a launch template. Length must be between minimum, I will have to take 3 characters. So name I am giving test template. So create launch template. Now it has been created. Since it has been created, so let's go to our ASG again. Let's create the ASG. So auto scaling group name, suppose test ASG. Launch template, I will use this one that I have created, the test template. So I will use this one. Version of the template. Version means, suppose, let me tell you what is the meaning of version. Version means, suppose I have one template right now. So I will give the tag as latest, that this is the latest one. Suppose in future, if I do any modification with the template and if I create a new one, if I add something new in the existing template, I have the latest. In the latest, suppose I add the network configuration as well. I change the instance tier as well. So I have done any modification. So if I have done any modification, what I want that the new template will now become the latest and the existing one can become the version 1. so that if someone wants to use the latest one, they can use latest. If someone wants to use the version one, the old one, they can use it. Suppose if I do another changes in future, if I do another changes in the template, if I add something or if I delete something, then that new template will act as a latest, and the existing one where I have done the modification, that will become the V2. So that's the version. See, latest, default one. If you will have more, then more can be added here. So I will go with the default one. This one is used in the software development criterias. When they do the testing, they create the versions of the template, and they will use the template version on different machines, on different EC2. So I will go with the default. Even you can go with the latest. It's up to you. It is not going to impact anything actually. It's just the identification. Description I have given, we will use it for testing. This is my template. This is my template ID. It is using t2.micro instance. Rest of the thing is as it is. This is the ID. This is the date when this image got created, this test template. Now click on next. See, because I have not given any network, that's the reason it is asking me to set up the network. It is not asking me for the instance type because it has already taken t2.micro. If I would not have given the instance type in the template, then it will ask me that what instance you want to use. So if you want to change it again, you can change it. If you want to modify this one, you can. But I don't want to modify. I will go with the t2.micro. Network I want to use because without network, my EC2 will not work. So I have not given any network. So now let's create a VPC. So let's create. VPC means your network. So name I am giving, suppose VPC01. Range 10.0.0.0/24. I will go with the default one. Tags nothing. Create VPC. So VPC is created now. Let's create the subnet. So select a VPC. So this is my VPC. Subnet name I am giving S1. Availability zone, I don't want to use it. Suppose here I am using 20. Just create subnet. So subnet is also created. VPC is also created. Again, let's get back to the EC2. The auto scaling group. Template, it was my test template. Everything will be as it is. Next. VPC, I have this one, so I will select this VPC for the network. Availability zone and subnet, if you want to create the EC2 in different region, then you will select the availability zone and subnet as well. So currently I have US East 1C. It is created in the US East 1C. So my subnet is the part of 1C. So my copy will be created of the server in this region because the network is attached to US East 1C. So I will select this one. This is as per my template t2.micro. Just click on next. If you want to attach any load balancer, so that if the load is coming and you want to balance the load, that load should get automatically distributed among different server, then you can use the load balancer as well. So I will tell you about the load balancer in the next class. Load balancer have a separate topic. Then I will again show you this feature, how you can attach it to the ASG. For now, we will not use any load balancer because we don't know about it. This service also I will tell you later on what is this lattice integration option. By default, I will not use it. Health check. Health check means time to time, it will check the health of your EC2 servers. Whatever server is running in this ASG group, time to time, it will check their health. And if it feels that one of the server is not healthy, then it will automatically delete it and it will create another copy. If I have 4 servers in my desired capacity, one of the EC2 is not working, so it will delete one of that and it will create another one instead of that, just to manage the desired capacity. Because as per my desired capacity, by default it should have 4 copies, so it will maintain the 4 copies. So it will delete the unhealthy and it will create a new one automatically in the backend. So it is enabled, it will check your health. If any of the node is down, it will create a new one. When it should check the health, so by default the timing is that after every 300 seconds, it should check the health of my EC2. If you want to change it, suppose I want that after every 30 seconds, it should check the health of my EC2, then you can modify this one. So it will send the temporary data packet. It will try to ping with your EC2 automatically that whether it is pinging or not. If it is not pinging, it will delete it and it will create another copy. Then scroll down. There is an option of monitoring, that do you want it to become the member of CloudWatch? So currently we are not using any CloudWatch. I have not told you about this concept. So we will do it in the monitoring because that's the part of monitoring. So we will deselect it. We will not use it. We don't need any metrics right now. So just leave it. Next, see, here you need to mention the desired capacity, the minimum capacity and maximum. So by default, I want that my desired should be 2. Minimum, it can be, suppose minimum also I want 2 and maximum I want 3. So according to your load, you can. This one is optional. I will not go with any tracking scaling policy. What is this tracking all about? I will tell you in the monitoring part once we will start the CloudWatch. Then it's instance scale in protection. Scale in protection means, scale in means what? Reduce the number. So if you want to lock it, that if the number is getting decreased, then at what point it should stick. Suppose I have given the minimum number as 2. So I want to lock it, that it should not go beyond the limit of 2. Then I can lock it. So this is just a useless kind of feature. That's the reason it is optional, because if you have set up the minimum capacity, then of course it will not reduce it beyond the minimum capacity. So this is just a locking feature. No use, nothing. If you want to enable it, you can. It will not add anything extra. AWS says that if the minimum capacity is set, suppose it's set to 2, then this locking feature is going to restrict it, that it will not reduce the further capacity below 2. That's the meaning of this option. So it is of no use. We will not use it. Next, notification. Again, notification option we will see in the CloudWatch monitoring part, that if my load is increasing or decreasing, then it will send the mail on my email IDs. So currently I'm not adding any notification. Just next. Tags, not adding. In company there will be tags, but in company they will have like this server belongs to this department. Like they will have like department is equal to, suppose it belongs to HR. So let me add it as well. Next. So it is asking me that this is your summary. Just check it and create auto scaling group now. Create. So it's in the process. See, it's updating the capacity. Desired is 2, minimum is 2, maximum is 3 in the availability zone as per my subnet. So let it create it. It's updating policy. In order to check it, these are the description. See, updating capacity. If I will go to the activity option, in the activity, if I will scroll it down, then in the activity history, you can see the notification. See that at this particular time, the capacity got created. It was 0. So it got added from 0 to 2. See, it means my desired capacity was 2. So 2 servers copy will be added. Let me show you how it will be added. Let me open another tab. Let me do it here. And let's go to the EC2. In the instance, let's go. See, 2 copies are added automatically. It's in the process. T2.micro running. So I have not created any EC2. It was blank, but because of the rule, it got created as per my desired capacity. See, even in the history also you can see it was 0, now it is 2. So it will automatically create the EC2 as per the load. If you will increase the desired capacity or maximum capacity, it will act accordingly. So you can track the status here in the activity. If I will go to automatic scaling, see, here is my rule. I can schedule the action that when it should automatically get increase the count. See, this one I will tell you what is this. This is a different feature, predictive scaling policy. I will discuss about this one. Then see, dynamic scaling policy. If you want to decide, if you want to define a policy, see, this one is the CPU utilization policy that I was telling you. If you want to define the policy that if my CPU load is more than 80%, 90%, then automatically create the copy. Then you will go to automatic scaling option. In the automatic scaling, you will create a dynamic scaling policy. Dynamic means automatic. So just click here. See, if my average CPU utilization or my network utilization is more than, suppose I have decided that if my average CPU utilization is more than 80%, then it should create the copy. How it will create the copy? As per my maximum capacity. The maximum that I have given as per my desired order, it will create the copies accordingly. If the load is more than 80%, then what maximum capacity we had given? 5. So it will create five copies. And this is the cooldown period. See, this is the cooldown period that we can decide. Suppose what I want that after every 5 minutes, it will check the health. If the CPU utilization is less than 80%, then it will decrease the copy automatically. And how it will decrease? It will decrease as per the desired. If there is no load on the desired as well, then it will go to the minimum capacity. So here you can define the timing. So 5 minutes will be around 300 seconds. You will have to define it in the seconds. So that is the cooldown period. Then you can create the rule. So according to the utilization, according to the metric, it will sense the load and it will increase or decrease the EC2 automatically. This is what I was telling you. That's called your horizontal scaling group. Let's click on this group, the auto scaling. See, the same thing that I have created. So automatic scaling, here you can define the policy basis on the load. Predictive scaling policy, I will tell you what is this. This is a new feature that got added. This is very important. Schedule action means if you know very well that during the big billion sales for 15 days, you need more servers, then you can define the time, create schedule. Suppose schedule name is S1. During this particular time, I need my desired capacity to be 20. Minimum it can be 10. Maximum suppose it can be 40. When? Just give the time. That once means only for one time on a particular date. That date is your big billion sales date. So you can define the schedule as well. That if you know that big billion sales has been started, so for at least 15 days, I need the maximum capacity of the servers. I need multiple copies automatically in my group, then you can define this schedule action as well. Then it will act as per your rule, whatever rule you will give here. The minimum, how much it can be, the maximum, how many it can be, the desired, how many it can be. So you can define the rule accordingly, and you can give the timings and date. Then automatically at this particular date and time, it will create the desired capacity numbers of EC2. If you will set 20, then it will create 20 copies automatically as per this date and timing. And as per the load maximum, it can go to 40, 50, whatever you will decide. And if there is no load, then it can come down minimum by 10. That's something we can define here in the schedule. So we can do two things. Either we can define the schedule when we know in advance that during this time my load will be increased, and we can define the dynamic policy that if the load on my current CPU is this one, then automatically create the copies. That's what we can do. Monitoring, we will see later on. There is a separate session for this CloudWatch, CloudFormation. Then we will see how to enable the monitoring of everything. Instance management, the same thing. How many EC2 are the part of this ASG? So we have 2 EC2, which is the part of this auto scaling group. So from here you can see, you don't need to even go to the EC2. You can check it from here as well, that how many EC2 are the part of this group. So currently, as per my desired capacity, it is 2. In activity, you can check the activity status. If anything is getting added, it will add the history here. If any EC2 is getting reduced, it will add the history here. So you can see the status, successful, not successful, whatever, you can check it from here. If you want to edit the capacity, suppose, let me edit. Let me go to details of this ASG and let me click on edit. Now what I want, that my desired capacity should be 3. Minimum it can be 2, maximum, suppose I am giving 4. So desired means default capacity should be 3. So update. If I will create an update, and if I will go to the activity section, then let's refresh this one. Let's wait for some time. See, it's in process, in service. And what it is doing, it is increasing the capacity from 2 to 3. By default, it is 2 as per my desired capacity. Now it is going to add one more EC2. See, increasing the capacity from 2 to 3 on this particular date, because we have modified the desired configuration. Even if I will go to the instance management, now it has 3 copies. It's in pending state. It's getting created. Even if I will go to another tab in the EC2, and if I will refresh this one, you can see now 3 copies have been created. That's how the auto scaling group works. So whatever desired capacity you will mention, whatever maximum minimum you will mention, it will act accordingly. If you have set up the rule in the automatic scaling that basis on the load, the number of copies should be automatically created, then it will work accordingly. If you have defined any schedule that during this schedule I need more servers, then it will increase or decrease the capacity accordingly. Now understood?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Any doubt, any question? So do the practical of this one. This is a good thing and it is important. It is used in the industry. So whatever servers you want to add further, just define it in the rule. You don't need to create it. You cannot add any external EC2 in this group. If you already have any server running, suppose you have created any EC2 from here in the launch instance, and you want to make it the member of this ASG, that's not possible. It has to be during the creation. So let's delete this one. Now we don't need this. So it will be deleted after some time. Once it will be deleted, my instances will be deleted automatically, because these instances are not independent. These are the part of my auto scaling group. So once I will delete the auto scaling group, it will automatically delete my EC2s as well. My servers will get deleted automatically. That's how it works. So it is totally dependent on this group. So I will stop it here.
सर हेलो
Yes.
सर जैसे डायनेमिक का आपने बताया था, डायनेमिक जो कॉन्सेप्ट है, अगर उसको उस ऑप्शन को हम नहीं यूज करते तो उसमें जैसे जितना भी कॉपीज हमने बनाया, जितना वो भी किया, तो वो ऑटोमेटिक चलेगा ना?
हाँ, वो चलेगा ऑटोमेटिक, जो भी हमने डिजायर्ड कैपेसिटी दी है ना, और जो मैक्सिमम मिनिमम है उसके हिसाब से वो चलेगा। बट अगर तुम्हें लोड के हिसाब से डिफाइन करना है, ये तो हो गया कि भाई बाय डिफॉल्ट तुमने ये देके बना दिया। अब तुम्हें लोड के हिसाब से करना है कि यार मैं सीपीयू में इतना लोड आ रहा है मेरे, या नेटवर्क में इतना लोड आ रहा है, तो उस हिसाब से कॉपी इंक्रीज डिक्रीज हो, तब हमें डायनेमिक बनाना पड़ेगा, अदरवाइज देयर इज नो रिक्वायरमेंट।
ओके,
समझे?
यस सर।
So I will stop it here. I have to leave now. So tomorrow it will be on 9 PM. If it is on 8 PM, it will be updated on the portal. Otherwise 9 PM तो पक्का है, ठीक है? So it will be on 9 PM. Then we will discuss about this topic. Not EBS. EBS has been done. We will discuss about EFS, Elastic File System. This is like a network drive. So EFS we will discuss, and I will discuss about this predictive analysis feature. This is important, predictive analysis that we were getting in this ASG. Then I will start your load balancer. So let's connect tomorrow then at as per our timing, and let's see the further practicals. This recording you will get by evening. I will get it downloaded and I will share with you. Okay. So thank you very much for your time. Have a good day. Bye.
Thank you, sir. Bye.
Thank you, sir.
Bye.